Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach, 𝐓𝐘𝐒. I'm here today to talk about organization and actually workspace. Get a lot of people coming to coaching that want coaching on organization. And what I always start is like, how are you organized now? What gets things done? As opposed to going to some new organizational system that you think that you do, there's a lot of clues in your existing systems. But one of the things I want to make a distinction in today is a lot of people feel disorganized because they are not in the right workspace. And specifically, I want to share a little bit of a story of an individual that I recently coached. In their life, they have a bunch of challenges. They've got some situations with some elderly parents that they're having to deal with on the road. So they've got their personal life, they've got their work life, they got health care for their parents, they got estate issues, they got maintenance on the house. Anyway, I can go on and on, but the point is it's just kind of complicated. In working with this individual, we were taking a look at the system that they have, and they have a reasonably good organizational system, but because of the working memory challenges, there's a lot of the need to see stuff. Now, many of you out there can identify with this because you've got stuff on your desk and you've got stuff on the floor. Many think that's clutter. I would argue that it's there because of working memory. Out of sight, out of mind is you put it away and you'll forget that it's there, where if it's out, you know that it's there. It's a constant reminder. Now, that can get overwhelming after a while, but that's a whole nother video. Anyway, where I'm going with this is this individual is struggling and they want to help with getting organized, but they had a system for organization. Basically, they have categories of issues. If you will, imagine you had a bunch of different tables. One table was from one group of issues, and then you had another table, which is another category of issues. Within each category, there's a topic, right? Maybe a sub thing. Like in the example I was talking about, maybe there's the at home, they've got an apartment, they've got to deal with rent or the utilities or different things that are coming up related to that. So you might have a space that has everything related to their home, and then the individual tasks, which, by the way, if you look at a table like that, that's got that laid out, that's actually a task list when you think about it. It's not a physical sheet of paper with things written on it, but it's a visual task list. So where I'm going with this is the particular individual basically had really confined quarters, and stuff was in different rooms and all over the places. And really, we had a conversation about what is necessary in order for them to kind of get organized. And that is a labor-intensive project because they would have to get up, find a room, remove a bunch of stuff that's there to make room for other stuff, and set up different tables or different workspaces to put the tasks that needed to get done so that they could pick up something, take it over to their desk, work, and then take it back to that location. Again, this is fraught with issues because if you've got stuff that needs to get done and it doesn't have a home, its home ends up being wherever you drop it. And it's hard to remember all that. This is really ADD unfriendly. So what's my point in all this? My point in all this is often people with ADHD are looking for organizational systems, but they're not spending the time to build the workspace that they need with the tools that they need. All right. Sometimes this is a little bit labor intensive, but I'll tell you, my son is an industrial engineer. Basically, they build systems. And in the restaurant business, if you go in and design a restaurant, when they design kitchens, they want as little movement as possible at each of the different workstations. Imagine if you're crisscrossing around across the kitchen and other people were doing the same thing, food would be flying all over the place because people would be running into each other. So coming back to my point, often people with ADHD, they're not focused on their workspace, not having enough room, not having the right tools, not having the right things that they need. Sometimes you need like a table and a desk in order for that to take place. And I encourage you to advocate for yourself. If you're the type of person that's in a workspace where you've got stuff on the desk and on the floor and all over the place, I'm hoping that you can identify with this and this motivates you to say, listen, I've got to take care of this. Now, taking care of this, realize might be a day or a weekend with somebody else trying to help you figure out the best way to configure that space. But I think you find if you do, it's well worth it. I know me. I have certain things that are a requirement. One is a printer. I travel quite a bit. I've got two printers. One is a full-fledged printer that I take with me on the road, and then I have a travel printer. It's a wireless thing that if I'm going to go somewhere for a day or two, I'll do it. But if I go to a conference, I got to take the full-fledged printer because I do a lot of printing because that's the way I work. So I hope that this is giving you pause to think about your situation and realize that sometimes your organizational issues is not that. It's just you need to come up with a good workspace. This is a real challenge during COVID. Anyway, For our new listeners, please hit our subscribe button. We release a tip, something like this each week. Also, for our existing people, please comments. What do you think? Can you relate to this? Have you found any clever ways to build a workspace that works for you? I know under a separate video, I talked about having a desk that's in a horseshoe, so you have ample workspace. So with that, we also really would enjoy support of our channel by hitting the thanks button. If you're so inclined, we'd be grateful. With that, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.